All right, we are going to get rolling here. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. For all of the NFL fans, in particular the Detroit fans, another big Detroit Lions victory last night. So we're pretty pumped here in these parts. So we're going to get rolling and get into this presentation. Couple things that I'll highlight before we get rolling. You'll see on the screen the KeySteps logo. So we're going to show you, we're going to talk about the newest version of our FinLocker financial fitness and home ownership app that we've stood up and branded KeySteps. KeySteps is now available for any and all loan officers, whether or not you're part of an enterprise client of FinLocker. So we do have about 35 mortgage companies who are enterprise clients of FinLocker. Some of you on this call might be from one or more of those companies. As we demo here and talk about KeySteps, all of the features, all of the function, all of the interaction that we describe is also exactly the same in each of our enterprise versions of the product. But really, KeySteps was designed because we had a tremendous amount of interest from loan officers who weren't part of an enterprise deployment of FinLocker, that wanted access to it, that wanted to make this available to their customers. And so we branded and stood up KeySteps. It's now available. It's live. It's in the App Store. In fact, in a slide or two, I'll show you how you can actually take a look and download the app yourself as a consumer and try it out. But let's get into it. So where is KeySteps used? Where is FinLocker used in the client consumer experience? I talk about this concept of the mortgage process or mortgage transaction as being this continuum of experience. On one end of the continuum is what we call up funnel. So this is pre-application, right? Most of us are very familiar with point of sale. Point of sale is when someone raises their hand, says they're ready to apply. Most of you are going to put them into your loan origination system, your point of sale loan application system, and get them into that mortgage manufacturing process. When we talk about early up funnel, we're talking about 3+ 6 months, 18 months, 12 months, 36 months out ahead of point of sale. And so the use cases for FinLocker, for KeySteps, really support that up funnel engagement. You'll hear us talk a lot about educate and engage, reach, assist, engage, and educate. And so in support of early journey first-time home buyers, those are the folks that are just getting started with their home buying journey and really just learning what it means to be ready to buy, ready to secure financing. The use case for KeySteps is perfect for that early journey nurturing. We also have a use case where loan officers and lenders are using their version of FinLocker, in this case KeySteps, for anybody that comes into the funnel and is determined that they're not ready. Perhaps even a formal turn down is a great place to invite that user to use this app to address those areas that may have been holding them back. Another use case that's emerged with the FinLocker solution in several of our enterprise deployments is what we call a lead acquisition strategy through social media, or using the locker, the app, the FinLocker app, KeySteps, as a lead magnet. And you'll see that come through as we go into this demo. So the other end of the continuum is after the transaction, after closing. The KeySteps app, the FinLocker solution, is another great way to continue to engage your clients after the transaction. And so this is a way to kind of offer a substantial value to your past clients. And you'll see that in the form of the features that we'll demo here in a moment, but to keep them in your ecosystem connected to you meaningfully after the transaction. And so when we talk about both of those use cases, up funnel and ongoing client engagement, you should pay attention to where consumers are going today in the form of financial tools. And this slide that's on the screen is just a reminder of some of the biggest brands that are out there that are attracting consumers into their own ecosystems. And oftentimes these brands, the Karmas, the Sesames, the Nerd Wallets, et cetera, are a lead aggregation site that then sells that consumer, to the highest bidder and other financial institutions. So KeySteps is your way to offer this digital set of financial tools to consumers. And by the way, if I didn't mention it, it is a native mobile app. You have the opportunity to offer these solutions in one place, your app, your instance of KeySteps, to get them into your ecosystem early, keep them engaged in your ecosystem. And then when they do become ready to transact, you have the right to win the business at that time. So before we go into the additional slides, just if you want to take a moment while we're going through this demo and multitask like so many of us do anyway. On the left side of the screen is a QR code that allows you to test drive the app as a consumer. So eat your own dog food. So if you're going to partner with FinLocker and use the KeySteps app, on the left, that QR code will allow you to download the app and actually see and feel the consumer experience yourself. And then at any time during this presentation, if you're ready to move forward and get your own instance of KeySteps stood up, that QR code on the right will go right to our sign up page. And you'll see this at the end of the presentation as well. And I'm going to ask my team that's on the call as well to throw the links for both of these into the comment section. So at any given time, you can grab those and get yourself set up. Okay, so how do consumers get into the app? There are a bunch of different ways to use the KeySteps app, again, as a lead magnet, as a lead funnel. We created these digital cards for loan officers and their realtor partners as another easy way to distribute invitations for your clients, your prospects, to download this app. So imagine on the left is my personal digital digital card with a QR code to my instance of KeySteps. Also, the URL link is there as well. And so I have this saved as an image on my phone, and I can text it immediately to someone that I'm talking to that's interested or might be interested in getting themselves prepared for buying a home. You could put this into a email journey from your CRM. You could have an image like this sitting on your landing page on your website. Essentially anywhere where you're engaging with consumers, this card allows you to seamlessly invite consumers into your instance of KeySteps. And you'll see this as we get into the demo. We also allow loan officers to partner with real estate agents. So to create value for your relationship with your agents, we've also created a card for each agent that you set up. And all of these are live and in our system today. So this page is the landing page that also has some personalization to it. You'll notice in the lower right, when a consumer first comes to this landing page, either when they're coming in to create an account, which is the orange call to action, get started at the top, or sign back into an existing account, the sign in, they'll always see the loan officer and or the agent, the realtor, that's assigned to the consumer. So if we remember that prior slide where we had the unique URL, the QR code, that ties the consumer to you and your realtor. And when that consumer clicks that particular link or that QR, they're going to see this custom landing page with either you as the agent and or you as the loan officer and or your agent partner. So I'm going to now jump into our demo, and I'm going to hide from the screen so you can see the full demo here. So we're now logged in as a consumer in the KeySteps app. For purposes of today's demo, I'm going to do this out of our web app. As a loan officer, you will have a branded web app and mobile app. And the branding, I'll scroll to the bottom, is basically you as the loan officer. So here's me, Brian, the loan officer. Each loan officer is set up as a user in this exact same way. So we have this card, name. If I had an NMLS number, it would be present here. I do not. Phone number, email address, a quick contact. This allows the user, the consumer, to engage directly with the loan officer. Also a link to the loan officer's calendar to schedule a meeting. And you'll notice here, I have partnered with Chris, my real estate agent partner. And so because Chris and I are partnered and this consumer came into this unique link, that consumer is always going to see Brian and Chris. For you loan officers, you can have an infinite set or number rather of agents. So each agent that you set up as a partner user in KeySteps will create a unique URL and QR code that ties the consumer to that combination. So scrolling back to the top, I'm going to show you first our step-by-step guide, which is custom to the user, the persona of the user. The step-by-step guide is going to identify the persona, as I said, and we have 5 different personas that the consumer is slotted into. So we have our just getting started. That's that early journey, first-time home buyer. Getting ready is somebody that's typically going to be within months of ready to apply. Overcoming challenge is a turn down example. Ready now is just what it sounds like. They're ready to move forward and buy a home. And not looking. This might be your past client that you're engaging as well. So each user, when they create their account, answers a series of questions that get slotted into this persona. And then they're provided this dynamic, custom step-by-step guide based on that persona. And this step-by-step guide will live with them until they come in and change their persona, or they get to a place where they've moved from getting ready to ready, as an example. So I'll go back to our dashboard, and what you're going to see is a series of widgets for the user, the consumer. Our first widget is our mortgage approvability, or you'll hear us talk about the mortgage readiness assessment. I'm going to come back to this in a moment. This is really powered by information and data that the consumer is going to either connect directly to financial accounts and credit, or by answering questions in their profile. We use that data to set their goals and objectives, and then that's how we begin our assessment for their approvability. But I'll come back to that in a minute. Each consumer is prompted to connect their credit. Connecting their credit in the app is very simple. It's the last 4 digits of SOCH and their current address. We have an integration with TransUnion. We do our identity verification, and this widget comes to life. The consumer's credit score then is populated. It updates every 7 days. And so think about the credit score as one of multiple sets of data points that create ongoing engagement in this app on your behalf with your consumer. Credit score is just one of those. And every 7 days, we update the credit score. We're not necessarily going to message or alert the customer every time their score changes, but at least once a month, they'll get a very specific push notification on the mobile app and an email identifying that their score has changed. In the interim, if their score does move plus or minus 5 points, we will auto notify them as well. In addition to credit score, the consumer has access to their entire credit profile. The first thing we do, though, is we take their credit score, and then we overlay that credit score using the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loan level price adjust for credit score, and visualize for the consumer how their score impacts their potential interest rate. The interest rate today comes through an integration that we have with Optimal Blue. It is the Optimal Blue index rate, so the OBMII, I believe it is. It updates every day, and there's all kinds of disclaimer language in here. The rate that's in here is not a rate that it's not the rate that the consumer necessarily would be locking at. It's for education purposes only, but we do use that as a way to reflect where the consumer is from a rate perspective relative to their. Show the consumer visualizers on the impacts, the factors that most impact their credit score. Most of us are very familiar with payment history and its impact on credit score. Fewer of us are as familiar with utilization. So we take all the data from the consumer's profile and create these visualizers showing them in aggregate their total utilization. In this case, our consumer has optimized or maximized their score based on utilization. If this was greater than 30% or 70% in terms of utilization, there'd be some different messaging here for the user, including some education content on how to best manage utilization. And they can see each of their accounts from a utilization perspective as well. Additionally, they could click in, see their credit age, their total accounts. Another great feature of the app, again, that's reflected in the value that you're providing as a loan officer, is ongoing credit monitoring and alerts. So every one of your consumers that creates an account in KeySteps and connects their credit is also going to be enrolled in free credit monitoring and free credit alerts. And so any inquiries on the consumer's credit profile, any new accounts that are open, any accounts that close, even any accounts that go into a delinquent payment status would trigger an immediate alert to the consumer. So you're giving them also peace of mind as it relates to monitoring their credit. Additionally, for your early journey home buyers, we have this what if scenario, this DIY what if scenario where a user can come in and run different scenarios or actions they might take on their credit. So I'm showing you the action of paying down balances by $20,000 in this case. And so in this instance for this consumer, if they were to pay down their balances on their outstanding credit by $20,000, their score would increase by 22 points. The user can run other scenarios like the impact of opening, closing accounts, changing balances, as I just showed you, even changing pay histories. So that's our credit widget. We do see a lot of engagement on credit with the consumer. And now that that consumer has linked their credit, we have all the data from that credit profile that's starting to build up our repository of data that we use to analyze the consumer's readiness for ultimately getting a mortgage. The next area that the consumer is prompted to interact with is our financial summary, or our accounts widget, as we call it. Here, the consumer can connect multiple financial accounts. So not just assets, so not just bank accounts, but also on the asset side, it's checking, savings, investment, 401k, IRA, et cetera. On the liability side, it's charge cards, gas cards, credit cards, student loans, auto loans, even mortgage loans, all can be linked in the app. And then we bring in all the transactional data from each of those accounts. And that transactional data is also used in our analysis of the consumer's readiness. But then we take the aggregate of that financial account data and the balances, and now we're reflecting a snapshot net worth view for the consumer. So you can see here, we just set this particular account up this week. So it's just reflecting 1 month, but this would show a trend month over month of net worth, debt to income ratio, as well as cumulative savings. And you'll see here, in addition to bringing in cash and other assets and liabilities like credit cards and mortgage, we also are bringing in property. And so this is a good segue into the next widget, which is our property widget. Here, the consumer at a glance can see their equity at a glance, but if they go a layer deeper, as I just did, you can see this consumer linked their primary residence here in New Orleans. And we've also linked our mortgage account against that property. And so now we have this dynamic view of equity. And I want to stay on this for a minute. This is important. There's other products out there that reflect, that really engage consumers around property and property value. And they calculate the available equity using an algorithm that typically starts with the recorded mortgage and working backwards with some expected amortization. Our app is actually looking at the AVM value, and this is a bank-rated AVM that comes in every 30 days, and also looking at the current balance on the mortgage. So if a payment was posted yesterday, as you can see here, I'm hovering over the balance, this equity, estimated equity, would be updated in real time today. So it's a much more dynamic view of estimated equity for the user. And I think Chris was answering this question in the chat. You can have up to 5 properties linked in here, and those properties can be, coded as primary, vacation, investment, other. And those would all roll up to the net worth on the front page there on the dashboard. So next thing I'll show you is our integrated property search. So we do have a integration with Home Genius's technology. So Home Genius is powering this real estate search experience. I just put my zip code in real quick. And so here's a map. I can come in and I can clear boundaries and redraw the parameters. A cool feature, in addition to traditional typical search parameters like zip code, school district, beds and bath, price range, square footage, is this feature to search with AI. So what I can do here is I can either pick room types and features or upload a photo. In this case, I would grab a photo. I'll just grab this kitchen here. So I'll grab this photo of a kitchen. The AI inside of Home Genius is identifying these features: stone countertops, stainless appliances, hanging lights, hood range, etc. And I'm going to apply those features to my search criteria. And now, in addition to my zip code, beds and baths, school district, price range, it's going to bring me back properties that also match to that photo that I uploaded. And you can see here at a glance, the photos that are inside these listings closely match that photo that I uploaded.
Hey, BV, I think your screen's frozen. It's not going to property search. It's stuck on the dashboard.
No, I know what it is. I got you.
That's all right.
I got you. Good call. Thank you. It's because I opened it up in a different window. Good call out. 1 second here. Well, I'm going to come back to that one because it's open in a tab. So, so our embedded real estate search, and I will come back to that before we wrap up, is there. Now, let me go back to the top of our widget here, the top of our dashboard rather. And here we have our mortgage approvability widget. So what folks should be thinking about here is, as a loan officer, you can only scale yourself across so many people that are in your funnel, that are in this getting ready stage, if you will. And so this approvability widget really is meant to be an extension of you as the loan officer and the help that you give your prospective home buyers, especially those early journey first-time home buyers, while they're doing the things that they need to do to address their readiness from a financial and emotional perspective. And so this approvability widget is going to play that role of extending your scalability. And how do we do that? So we measure a home buyer, a prospective home buyer's readiness across 4 dimensions: cash to close, employment income, credit score, and DTI. And we're measuring DTI in 2 ways: both the monthly housing debt to income ratio, also the total debt to income ratio. And we have some presets here. We use 43.5 as a proxy for total DTI. We use 640 for credit score today as our proxy. And then cash to close is going to come from the consumer telling us what their desired down payment target is and the goals and objectives they set for that. And so we use stars and wrenches. And so you'll see here, our user today has 3 stars, and then there's a wrench for cash to close, which means based on the user's desired down payment, their goal for down payment, the amount of cash that they have in their linked accounts in the app is less than that goal. And so it's showing here as a wrench. We then convert the wrench or wrenches into an action plan. And that action plan is going to take the user, the consumer, to different parts of the app. And so we have some education content that would be here. We have our goals feature. So I'm going to go into our goals feature. This is where the user would create a specific savings goal. And here I'll just do a quick one for you to show you how it works. We'll call this first home. And I'm just going to set a quick target. We'll say the purchase price is $250. I normally would have this set up ahead of time. And I'm going to use, just for fun, 25,000 as the goal. So we just created a goal, and now we're going to link that goal after we set our target date. Let's just say I want to be ready in next spring. So call it May of next year. And then now I would pick the account that I'm going to save for and link that account. And then I'm going to use, at any given time, I'm going to use 25% of that account as my assessment for my readiness. And now I just quickly created a goal to save for down payment. And in real time, the app is going to track my progress using that linked bank account towards that goal, and then give me time, from time to time alerts on how I'm doing against that goal. Go back to our dashboard real quick to the top here. Now just show you real quickly some of the detail beyond the assessment here from a star rating, but also around how we show the user estimated payments. So in this instance, we're using that index rate that I mentioned earlier that comes from Optimal Blue. We're using the target purchase price that the consumer put in there when they were creating their account, and then just showing an at-a-glance view of their 30-year rate, which coming in from Optimal Blue is, call it 6.3, 6.282, and then how that would reflect into a payment. All right, let's see here. Let me try this real quick. I'm going to stop sharing and then go share my real estate search screen. Give me a second here. We'll come back to that. Chris, is that showing now?
Not quite yet. It's looking like it's trying to do something.
Okay.
Give us the
Okay, I think it's showing now.
Yep.
So now we have here's the search screen I was describing earlier. At any given time, I could come in as a consumer and favorite, properties. And now the app is going to track any changes from the data in that property in the search experience and push it back and reflect it back into the app. And then just to show you real quick what I was mentioning earlier, this was the photo that I uploaded of the kitchen. So my filter criteria was beds, baths, square footage, school district. But I also uploaded this photo and said, match me with properties that have stone countertops, stainless steel appliances, hardwood floors, etc. I applied that. And then the AI in Home Genius goes and looks for properties that best match that kitchen photo. And you can see here, it brings back not just the kitchen photo, but it's in the zip code, in the price range that I also put in my filter. So a pretty cool kind of next level AI feature for users, consumers on their search experience. So now I'm going to go back into our dashboard here. Sorry, I had two windows opened. Here we go. So now I'm back in our dashboard, and I'm going to scroll down to our properties widget. We'll come back into our property widget, and now any of the properties that I saved from my search experience are going to be reflected and layered inside the Save Properties folder widget in the app. And so now, in addition to kind of seeing the property from a traditional real estate search criteria, we now overlay the budget and the estimated payment for that home based on the consumer's readiness. And so this is kind of a next level matching of search from an experience perspective with financial readiness. Chris, I'm going to take a pause. I went pretty fast, but I want to go back to our slides and have you take us through the admin portal. Anything that I missed that I should cover here?
I think you got most of the consumer experience. I mean, for anyone that's on the call and wants to do a deeper dive and run through questions, me and the customer success team here are happy to take you through any deeper ones. There's additional stuff like spending analysis. They can create, BB showed you goals, but they can create targeted budgets. There's an overall budget, educational sections. So a lot of good stuff in there. And we're happy to dive in deeper with anybody, but we can probably navigate over the rest of the slides.
Perfect. And just before Chris goes into our admin portal, I mentioned notifications that are pushed out from the app. So this is showing you just an at-a-glance view of some of the different persona-based communications. They go out via push notification as well as emails, and they're very custom to the user. We do see over a 60% open rate on all the emails that go out. And it's because they're timely, and those emails are driven by data changes that are happening in the consumer's app. Things like credit score change, property value change, where they are on their home readiness journey, et cetera. We have a home market report that goes out to users as well. And then each of those journeys that goes out is very custom based on the persona of the user themselves. What's super cool about all this, guys, is that while the app is pushing out notifications to consumers, your customers, your prospects, we're also alerting you, the loan officer, in real time as things are happening. So as an example, when a consumer gets their 4 stars and they're now ready to confidently move forward, that's an instant alert to you. Any consumer that downloads the app and creates an account for the first time, that's an instant alert to you as the loan officer that there's a new app that's been created. When their credit score is moving up a tier or down a tier, frankly, that's an alert to you as well. When they favorite properties in the search, when they save a property, when they set goals, and when they achieve their target credit score, those are some of the alerts in real time that go to you as a loan officer. So if I'm a loan officer and I've got, all of my prospective up funnel consumers in KeySteps, and I'm getting these alerts, these are opportunities for me to have very meaningful conversations, continued conversations with my prospects as they're getting themselves ready. And on the back end, for my past clients, having this information, having these alerts, knowing that they're using the app, gives me real reasons to have outreach and follow up with them as well to stay meaningfully engaged after the transaction. Okay, I'm going to let Chris now talk about the back end of our app. We call it the admin portal, and all of the visibility that you have as a loan officer on what's going on here.
All right, thanks, BB. So this screen you're looking at is actually down to the consumer level. So you think about a consumer's profile that you're looking at here. What we're not showing right here is there's a dashboard that leads you to all this. So there's a dashboard on overall aggregate activity of recent activity, running that readiness assessment, and if they got 4 stars, if they're moving up a credit tier, all that stuff that you're getting track of your whole client base that's using the app. But then you can drill down further and see stuff on this. And so when BB was showing you the alerts that happen, you'll get instant alerts, and the call to action is a click button that goes directly to that consumer's profile for whatever event just happened. And then you can see a lot of activity. So you see everything from their activity, whether they're registered, their latest activity date, their location, where they're at, if an agent's assigned to them. So if you're co-branding on this particular consumer and they see both of you within the app, if they've enrolled properties, you see an aggregate, how many properties have they enrolled, what's the low and high price range, the value of them, and the location. Same thing with saved homes. You see as many saved properties that they've saved and favorited, and the zip codes that they're saved in, along with the price ranges that they're looking in. Current credit score within a 10-point band, previous credit score within a 10-point band, and then their objectives. So what are they trying to do within the app? Are they trying to grow their net worth, or are they trying to just prepare for their first mortgage? And then down below, where you see the stars on the screen, the stars, that's all of the running total of the readiness assessments, what scenarios they've run, the amounts that they've run in there, did they get a star or not? And as BB mentioned on the previous slide, when someone does run that and either gets 4 stars or updates themselves to ready, you're going to get notified. And that's a good call to action to have a discussion. The consumer can also prompt you for a conversation, both by reaching out through the app just on your contact card, or if there's particular scenarios within there where they can share explicit data with you to say, hey, I want to review this scenario. So maybe they only got 3 stars on this readiness assessment, but through the educational tools, they've seen that there's options for maybe some home, down payment assistance for seller credits. They don't understand what seller credits are. So we're really trying to just prompt that, use the technology to help you scale, but have that professional still on the back end, their trusted advisor. And that's a real differentiator to our app, is they can get some of this stuff, not all of it, some of the stuff in other places, but they're not connected to a trusted advisor. Their data is being sold. So this is a look at the dashboard I was mentioning earlier. So what you're seeing at the top here, the total registered lockers, how many of it in the current month, their journey tag breakdown. So where are your consumers sitting? Are most of them getting ready, or most of them overcoming challenges? The bottom left there is recent registrations, and the bottom right is recent activity. You'll see we've had to mask some of the names, but you'd see the full names there, and you can click on them to see what, diving into that profile, which I showed you on the previous screen. And then here is just a continuation of the dashboard. This shows your aggregate credit levels, where people are at within credit ranges. You'll see recently improved scores for people, so you can click on them, see if that got them into being approvable or not. And then on the far right is the readiness assessment. So everyone who's run readiness and where they fall. The cool thing, what we've seen from our data, is if anyone runs readiness once, it's like something like 90% plus will run it multiple times. And then here's just a look at kind of the starting point when someone registers for the app. So this is the data that we collect, and then we share with you on the back end of what they're trying to do. As you talk about like getting further up funnel, whether you're at doing a home buyer webinar, doing a listing with a realtor, or posting on social media, this is where the app helps start building more knowledge on who that consumer is, where they're at on their journey, so you can help them further along.
Awesome. So I'm going to leave this up for a moment, and I just have a few closing thoughts. We also will take any questions if you want to drop those in the comments. I know we've been answering some as they've come in. Again, on the left side of the screen, the QR code would allow you to just create your own consumer account and kind of see exactly what your consumers would see in the app, with the only difference when you scan this QR, you're going to see me as the LO instead of yourself as the LO. And then if you're interested in getting set up as a loan officer on KeySteps, that's the QR code on the right. Chris did put some information in the comments, some links as well. Right now, we're allowing loan officers to get set up for $1 for month one, and so you would use the code 174 OFF, OFF, all caps, 174 OFF, and that would get you the app set up for $1 for month one. I want to spend a minute real quick on a recent use case where one of our clients, one of their loan officers, created a social media post talking about the importance of budgeting early in the first-time home buying process. And she went into a lot of detail around the importance of understanding your finances, and specifically understanding where you're spending money and how to utilize a budget effectively to get yourself to a place of readiness. And she referenced in her post her version of the FinLocker app from her company, and in a single month, she was able to attract 477 new leads to her pipeline. And these were people that download the app, created an account. And what was really interesting inside of the data of those 477 was roughly 15% of those people identified that they're actually ready now to buy, but maybe they weren't buying because of inventory, or probably mostly inventory. And so that 15% out of that, call it 477, was like a prioritized lead list. And one thing I would think about here, based on what we just showed you in this demo and all those different consumer-facing tools, is how you can create marketing, not just old school marketing, but digital marketing, social media marketing, talking about the importance of financial readiness, financial preparation, and leveraging this tool and some of the specific consumer features in the tool as calls to action for people in your social media audience to download and create this account. Those are instant, immediate leads. To me, it's way better than any lead funnel you could ever imagine. The other thing I would challenge everybody that's here today to think about is on your website, on your landing page. I know almost every one of you, probably 100% of you, have some kind of an apply now button, call to action on your landing page, on your website. Not saying that's a bad idea. It's actually a really good idea. But let's be honest. How many people are coming to your landing page, coming to your website right now who are ready to apply now? What are you doing for that segment of visitors to your website who aren't going to ever click that call to action, or at least not anytime soon? What we're suggesting is next to your apply now, you can have a get ready or getting ready or some other call to action that would be a link to your version of KeySteps. Just a different way to engage traffic that's already coming to your website that otherwise is not going to engage with you today simply through an apply now call to action. All right. Any questions that came through, Chris, that we need to answer? I think we're probably good to go here.
Yeah, I think we're caught up.
Well, I appreciate everybody joining us here today that joined us live. For you all that are joining us on demand, we appreciate your attention as well. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the day and has this last part of the year is off to a great start for you. Thanks, everybody.